All right, so your underlying energy is judgment. So y'all going through some serious changes right now, big changes as a matter of fact. But it's hard to see right now. It's hard to kind of it's really hard, these changes. I think you guys are trying to keep the balance of the situation, trying to keep the balance of your whole entire lifestyle right now. Some of you guys are suffering financially. Some of you guys, this is about an overall struggle together, right? Together with a person, together with your, your family, or this is simply by yourself. But the moon is crossed by the Five of Pentacles, and the moon already in itself talks about confusion and not being able to see anything clearly, just kind of just practically just confusing the hell out of people. But it's also a very intense energy. And an energy where you're going to have to really trust your intuition. And the thing that's really interesting to me is that you have the Five of Pentacles here. So I think you guys are both struggling. You and this other person, or maybe this is just you in general, you guys are struggling, but it's not necessarily like a defeat or being left out in the cold kind of deal. I'm not getting that for some of you guys. Some of you guys, it could be that you guys are trying to figure out what to do despite some sort of rejection that you may have received recently. But for some of you guys, I really feel like this is a struggle in regards to going through a period where it's hard to kind of see where anything is going, right? You kind of have to trust your intuition, right? There's no clear-cut way of how anything's going to turn out. You're kind of just going to have to go with your intuition and see how it goes from there. Because with this kind of struggle going on, right, even though this is about stability, right, trying to get to a stable place, trying to get to something more solid, you feel like there's something lacking in your life right now, but that is because perhaps the only way for you to find it is by you really just kind of going on a certain path that you may not feel 100% certain it will get you to or to what you're looking for. But like I was telling Virgo, with no risks, there's no rewards, and I feel like that's why your advice is the Seven of Swords right now. Not hiding, not lying, not doing anything deceitful, but it is telling you to do some things that, that you may not feel 100% comfortable with at this time, but the reward will turn out exponentially, right? With no risk, no reward. And I feel like this feels like it's a bigger risk than ever. It may be a little uncomfortable, but I think this is something that that's going to get you to where you want to be. Now, in the past, you had the Eight of Pentacles, so y'all been working hard. Y'all been focused on what you need to do. Getting your ducks in a row. Right? And I feel like you guys are very focused and concentrated on the things that need to be done, really trying to get those things hashed out, can make a progress. And it may have been slow progress, it may have taken a long time to get to this period where there is a massive amount of change, but I do think it's led up to a point where you can see the situation that you're in now with a different perspective, a new kind of point of view, and you're able to kind of use that perspective to your advantage here, which is why the Ace of Swords is in your present. But it doesn't defeat the fact, it doesn't necessarily overlook the fact that there is the Five of Pentacles here, where you guys are struggling, maybe financially, like I said before, or maybe this is you guys, getting over feeling left out in the cold, perhaps. But the struggle is real, and I think that the situation is that you have new ideas, new ways of kind of tackling these struggles, and not necessarily letting yourself succumb to them. And now it's easy for you to sink in this kind of energy, right? Because you have the moon here, which is very intense and very engulfing. It does influence a lot of your emotions. And you have your physical state, which is, trying to make it, maybe live a paycheck to paycheck. You're really struggling here. And if this is not financial, this is about, just in general, struggling with a relationship, struggling with the connection between you and another person. But all of this is intensified, and the only thing that's keeping you afloat right now is this Ace of Swords. Now, the fact of the matter is, the thing that I feel like saves you the most, guys, is this judgment energies, because you've been down this road before, where you've been struggling, where you felt like you didn't have enough, where you felt like you couldn't overcome certain obstacles. But this is a place where you've been here before. You've struggled, you've worked your behind off, you got into where you wanted to be now, and this perspective, this clarity through the situation, and you're literally slicing away all the gunk and the BS, right? This is why I feel like your goal and ambition is to take the risk, is to go out and do it, because you know what? You're done with living a life where you guys are constantly under stressing about not having enough. I feel like you guys know you're ready. You know that you're done with your situation. You're emotionally done. You can't give any more to this. You have everything that you need to make the steps, to take take the steps forward. And I feel like with the Five of Pentacles here, it's like, yeah, you're putting that behind you, but you're also trying to make a situation that's giving you lemons and making lemonade out of it. It's hard to do, no doubt, especially, like I said before, especially with this energy. But I think it's convenient with the full moon that just passed here, full moon in Cancer, because it's about home. This is about, family. This is about security. This is about, this is about security. And I feel like this is now, you realize that security doesn't come from the physical, because you could be out here in the cold with your boo, right? Male or female, it doesn't matter. But it all depends on how you feel about yourself. Can you get yourself to stability? And that in itself is a sense of security, because you get yourself out of it. You know that there's people around you that will help you. You don't ever have to struggle alone. Which is why I think that's why the Three of Cups is coming into play. Because maybe there's family and friends that get involved to help make this thing work for everyone, right? Or maybe this is you and your person really connecting again, really, really unifying and working through difficult stuff. Whether this is, like I said, financial or not. But ultimately, you guys have had situations where you had to overcome certain things. So this situation of the Five of Pentacles, even though it was intense and it does kind of like make you feel a little nervous, you are going into this with the Ace of Swords knowing exactly what you're going to be doing differently, exactly knowing who you are, knowing your truth, knowing your point of views, everything you've been through, your strategies, everything, And I feel like that, even though the judgment is coming up and it's a really big change, it's going to change your entire life. And it's basically a reflection on who you were back whenever the situation happened before. And I think even some of you guys, this is a revitalizing an area in your life where you thought that was never going to happen again. Like where you thought that, okay, this was the one-time deal. No, this one-time deal just came back for another round, right? It extended its offer. So now it's about taking the steps and doing something differently. Judgment isn't just a review, it isn't just a massive change. It's also a call to action. And I feel like this is your time now to utilize what you know to your advantage. And again, that may feel like, you're taking a really big step out in a different direction, totally more to lose. You feel like you could lose just as much as you gain. But if you feel like the reward is worth the effort, I would say go for it. Because ultimately, you can't give any more to a situation that you already given your 100% to. The Eight of Pentacles. You've given everything that you got here. You were focusing, you were working hard. And I know the Nine of Wands would be more of like you working your behind off, you gave it everything that you got. But the Eight of Pentacles to me is like very physical, very, hard working, very focused. And I feel like with the Eight of Pentacles, like you know exactly what you want. You know what you don't want, but it's going to take some time to, to search for that, to look for that. And that is why this Ace of Swords is here, is like you're going to have the opportunity to follow your heart, to follow what you want, to get what you want, to get that sense of security. And I feel like that's the piece that was missing. You had everything squared, but you had one cup missing, and that was the security one, right? Because that's what this really boils down to. But the security is within you. It's never about what the other person is there to offer you, because you could be surrounded by friends and family. You can be surrounded by people that care about you, but ultimately, if you don't feel secure in yourself, then you don't have that security that you need. You're just going to be leeching off of people and all that stuff. And I feel like that's what you realize, because everything that you've gone through, this is yourself. This is you doing it alone. You've been working your behind off, and the person that that you really need to get security from is yourself. And I feel like you have, and that's why you have this review. That's why you're looking back, and that's why this moment of time is so intense and so scary, because you're facing a lot of your fears about not insecurities, but security. Period. Feeling safe, feeling like you have some place, some stability, or having enough of anything, being enough. Not always looking at the lack, but what can be done despite what you don't have. Which is why I feel like this always goes back to the hermit, right? The hermit talks about going within, finding the answers that you need to, understand within yourself, right? Only you can answer the questions that you have. How am I going to be stable? By loving yourself, supporting yourself, by showing yourself kindness, by overcoming the fears and the the intensities of the moon, right? Because you're going through darkness. That's a dark energy, but you have to embrace the dark, understand the dark, and heal the dark with the star that's in your lantern there. And the only person that could do that is not your mom, it's not your brother, it's not your boyfriend, it's not your girlfriend, it's you. And that is what's going to make you the most powerful. And I feel like that's why you realize this. You're not alone in this certain journey. You don't have to do this sort of, you don't have to, just fight the good fight alone, per se. Because I feel like there's people around you that are kind of going through something similar. But this individual journey, this individual pathway, if that makes sense, right? Because, like, for instance, right? Everybody has their own reasons why they would dabble, like, if they have an alcohol problem, for instance, right? If they're addicts. Everybody has their own, ways of, reasons why they got into it, what keeps them stuck, what makes them go to that kind of, addiction, right? But the battle is still your own, but you can connect with others regarding that. And I feel like that's the same thing. That's the same principle. You can connect with others that are very similar in regards to the struggles that you've got. But of course, understanding that journey is still your own in a way, but you don't have to share, you don't have to do this by yourself. You could share in similar struggles, but work together to find a solution. And that solution is within you. It's not outside of you. It's within. So let's go ahead and see what you guys got regarding your messenger oracle. What a powerful message this time around. Very powerful message before Christmas. I can tell you that much. Excuse me, y'all. So let's see what we got from the messenger oracle. Be vigilant. I like that one. We're going to read you the affirmation for that. And that talks about just putting in the work. Being very watchful, be very mindful. Keep persevering. Alright. Be watchful and cautious of others' actions and your own. Stand ready to protect yourself from those who may covet what you have, who you may convey what you have or seek to harm those you care for. But also be vigilant and watchful of your own actions, lest you be the one doing harm. Weigh your actions. Be sure you act wisely. Be sure you have done all that needs to be done before moving forward. That's the Seven of Swords, though. Be sure you have done all. Actually, that's the Eight of Pentacles and the Seven of Swords. But my bad. Be sure you have done all that needs to be done before moving forward. Leave nothing to chance, lest all you have nurtured and cherished is be undone by your lack of vigilance. Wow. So yeah, cross out your list, guys. Everything that you've done, everything that you put in regarding this, journey that you guys are going through, whatever this is for you guys personally in your own beautiful worlds out there. Keep fighting the good fight, folks. So let's see what you guys got going on from the wisdom of the oracle. Oh, by the book. And by the book is talking about sticking to routines, policies, and traditions. And I would say, because you typically with books like this, I would be like, oh, break the status quo. Do things that are, outside of the box. But I'm feeling right now this is about sticking to everything that you need, that needs to be done right now, especially with this Seven of Swords and the moon coming up. Even though that's not a malicious sort of energy to me, I do get this feeling that you do have to tread carefully. Whatever you're doing in the shadows is going to come to light. So you have to, it's good to just stick within the guidelines, the policies, and the routines that you have set right now, because breaking from those things, not being vigilant, for instance, will perhaps make things a little bit wonky, and like it said, undo everything that you've done. So keep fighting the good fight, keep going with the routines, keep fighting through to stay within those brackets, right? And if, and because the risk is coming in, you're going to be needing to take a risk sooner or later, which is going to be totally against the by the book meaning altogether. But as long as you know that you have, you're doing what needs to be done up to that point, the risks that you're going to be taking here, whatever this is, the step in the direction where it's not necessarily the clearest as to what could happen, could definitely, it could definitely turn out in your favor. But it's all depending on what is meant to happen, right? Because anything can happen. Also, guys, with the Three of Cups there, I forgot to say, this could be connecting with someone, reuniting. It's not just getting together with a group. It's not just friends and family. This could be about connecting with people and getting back out there and really connecting with other people, especially if you guys have been rejected before and the fear is being rejected again. But you've worked so much on yourself that maybe being out and mingling with other people will definitely is going to require courage in both respects. But I feel like you have the potential to meet new people, to understand, to get together with other folks, to create new friends, to create new relationships with people. But it starts by taking that risk to do that.